Folks, welcome to today's podcast. I got my good buddy Chuck Sykes, Director of Game and Fish here, our great state of Alabama. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we got a lot of topics we're going to cover, but I think something pretty much dear to your heart and everybody around the country is CWD.
Unfortunately,
Yep.
it's really taken the forefront of most management topics of most of my dealings with directors in other states. You can't go anywhere without CWD. That discussion popping up.
Hunters need to be aware of the rules and regulations
Yep.
of CWD.
That's one of the biggest issues that we see. Look, whether you believe in it or not, I know there's a bunch of people that say it's a fabrication. There's some that are all on board, some that are not.
Yeah.
I don't even want to get into
Right.
what it is, why it is. Let's just focus on the reality of what we're dealing with.
Yep.
In Alabama, it is illegal to bring a deer, a live deer, or a dead deer carcass back across the state line unless that carcass has been properly processed. So whether you believe in CWD or not, it's
Right.
just like me. I may not believe I should drive 70 miles an hour on the interstate.
Yeah.
I should be able to drive 80.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
So here's the rules. And people, each state has similar rules to ours. And before hunters start going out of state, whether it's Montana or Illinois or Alabama, they need to understand those rules.
All right, what is the rules of processing different in Alabama than, say, other states? What does a hunter have to do if he shoots a deer, say, in Mississippi or Georgia? And what does he have to do to clean it to be legal to
Yep.
come back across?
Each state is going to be a little bit different, but
Okay.
there are some things that are going to be pretty consistent. And I'll just say for Alabama, if you go to Illinois in November and kill a deer, and you got to get back to Alabama, you just can't throw it in the back of your truck, gut it, and bring it home.
Right.
What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to debone it. You can't bring any bones back, so you just
Okay.
take all the meat, just
All the
like if you're in Alaska, you got to
Right.
bone everything out.
Yep.
If you want to get it mounted, you have to completely take the cape off, cut the antlers off, remove all the brain. That's where the highest concentration of that disease is
In the
going to
brain.
be stored,
Okay,
is
yeah.
brain, spinal column, and bones.
Gotcha.
So we want to leave them where the animal was taken.
I got you.
So you can bring the hide, you can bring the antlers, and you can bring the meat back with you, and you're good. And
Okay.
yeah, it takes a little more time, but do you really want to be that guy
Yeah.
that brings it back?
Right. So each person, each hunter really needs to look at their state regulations, because the key is whatever the brain and all that needs to stay in the location where it was taken.
Absolutely.
Because if it's infected, then it's coming to a state that's not having
Yep.
any infection. Is that correct?
Yep, and there's I think there's 28 or 30 states that have similar regulations to ours. So just for example, last year in November, we did a joint detail, law enforcement detail with Tennessee. They have the same reg that we do. We've got billboards up and down 65 saying, don't bring CWD back to Alabama. Here's where you go to find out everything you need to know. Within the first hour and a half, we made 6 arrests
Really?
of people bringing whole carcasses back. Now that was working jointly with Tennessee. They made some and we made some. We had deer from Kansas, which is CWD positive. We had deer from Illinois, which is CWD positive, coming back into Alabama.
Gotcha.
The most disheartening part of that was every one of those people admitted that they knew what they were doing was illegal. They didn't even plead ignorance. It was,
Really?
I just didn't want to take the time to do what I needed to do to make sure a $1.8 billion industry in Alabama is protected, because I didn't have the time.
Wow. So this is more on the hunter now.
This is on the hunter,
No
absolutely.
question. And really check with your game and fish, see what you got to do. And then even if it is positive in certain states, they need to know in certain counties, they don't need to be taking it from county to county.
That's
either.
it. I mean, each
They
one
have
of those.
inspection places
Yeah.
they got to go.
In certain states, they have the same regulations for counties that
Exactly.
we do coming back into Alabama. So I think in Tennessee, I think Hardeman County is one of the hot spots.
Right.
Well, you have to do that same process before you can take a deer out of Hardeman County,
Right, I got it.
just like it's coming across the state line. You know, Jackie, we talked about the people that were doing it wrong Most hunters are good law-abiding people that want to do the right thing. And an example of that is we had a gentleman in Birmingham that went to Montana, hunted in a zone that was mandatory testing. Let me do that again, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
Jackie, you know, we talked about the bad people.
Yep.
But most hunters, as you know, they're good folks.
Right.
They want to be law-abiding, they do the right thing. And we had a prime example of that. Had a gentleman in Birmingham that went to Colorado, hunted in a mule deer zone that was mandatory testing. So if you killed a deer there,
Right.
you had to take it to a check station for the biologist to pull samples.
Right.
He did everything right. He did that. He had the meat vacuum sealed, packaged, processed, and shipped back. Well, once he got home 2 weeks later, he got a call. Your deer was hot. It had CWD. Now, this is a normal looking deer. Everything was fine. Did not know until after the fact. Rather than him just taking the meat and throwing it in the trash can, he contacted us, sent a biologist up, got the meat, disposed of it properly. So there are people doing the right things.
Right.
And if people have questions on what to do, how to do it, and why to do it, all they've got to do is go to outdooralabama.com. We've got all of that information on there. And again, people in your own state, check with your local department and make sure you're not doing anything illegal. And a lot of it is just they don't know. They're not doing it intentionally, they just don't know.
But this isn't a little pat on the back or a little bitty fine either. If they do it wrong.
It could be a major deal if you illegally harvest an animal or not. If you violate a law in Tennessee and you bring that deer back into Alabama,
That's serious business.
that's a Lacey Act violation. That's
Right.
federal.
I got you.
So if an illegally obtained animal in one state is taken across state lines, yes, that throws a whole new monkey in the wrench right
got
there.
it. Well, if we're going to try to contain it,
Yes,
we have to be doing the right things as the hunter.
you just need to be educated. That's it. You need to know the facts. And again, I couldn't live with myself if I was that guy
Right.
that brought it back. Jackie, you and I both grew up here. It's a way of life for a
Yep.
lot of people in the state of Alabama.
Sure is.
What would happen to the Black Belt region
Right.
if people get scared to deer hunt or get scared to eat deer
Yeah.
meat?
I know.
It's going to be bad. So it's a way of life. But then for those people that say, I don't hunt, I don't fish, I don't
Right.
buy a license, I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking a $1.8 billion
Yeah.
industry for Alabama. So that's restaurants, that's
Yes.
gas, that's
Exactly.
hotels,
Yeah.
that's sporting goods stores.
Yep.
We just need to do what's right and take responsibility.
Got it. All right, my friend. Thanks for being on
Absolutely.
the podcast today. All right, folks. That does it for today's podcast. We'll see you next time.